Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I am Mr. Kadim Khan and I am a lecturer in the Institute of Computing, Quart University of Science and Technology. Today we will take lecture number 14 of the subject of Introduction to Computing, in which we are discussing the Microsoft Excel, and here we are discussing the first part of Microsoft Excel. Dear students, Microsoft Excel is one of the package in the Microsoft Office suite and it is used for computation purpose. It contains multiple formula to process the data. Because this topic is very much important and also it contains a lot of topics. So that's why we have divided into two lectures. This is the part 1 and next lecture will be the part 2. So it is very much important to you to understand the Microsoft Excel because for many projects you require to process the data. That's why Microsoft Excel is a very important tool to be learned. This is the discussion agenda. It contains the topics of the key terms in Microsoft Excel, workbook versus worksheets, Excel's workbooks windows, MS Excel ribbon, and steps for creating the workbook in the Microsoft Excel, entering the data in the workbook, inserting rows and columns, and formatting a worksheets, conditional formatting in the worksheets, and basic calculation function that are different basics operation on data, for example total, average, and other functions on the data in worksheets. And at the end we are creating basic formulas. So we can also create our own formula or existing formulas. This is the icon of the Microsoft Excel and it is mostly used in fact for the calculation purpose. Means that it accepts the inputs and then performs the operations over the inputs as required by the customers. Microsoft Excel is a very important tool and it can be used in banking. Also it can be used in the stock exchange or in the business firms. Also Microsoft Excel in fact calculates the taxpayers and overall different sort of the budgets. So that's why Microsoft Excel can be used in the different organizations. What are the key terms used in Microsoft Excel? Microsoft Excel contains the spreadsheets, also called the worksheets. It is mostly called the worksheets, which contains a data in the form of rows and columns. Means that in the workbook, which is the Excel files, contains multiple worksheets. And each sheet have multiple pages, means that each sheet contains multiple pages and every page implements different sort of the functionalities. Now, Microsoft Excel recognize and organize information in a certain rows and columns format. Means that in the tabular format, the data will be presented in the Microsoft Excel. Basic purpose of the Microsoft Excel is to perform the calculations and other statistical analysis across rows or columns. You can also create different sort of the charts and other graphical informations on the data using the spreadsheets. What is the difference between workbook and worksheets? Basically, workbook refers to the Microsoft Excel documents. And there may be multiple sheets inside of the workbook. The default each workbook has at least 3 sheets, that is 3 sheets. You can create the new sheets as well. Also you can rename these sheets. For example, fall term, summer terms and spring terms. If you want to calculate your marks of 3 different terms, so you can create 3 different worksheets. You can add these sheets you would like to. So Worksheet is the inter files and file name should be reflects the function file servers. So better is to provide the names which is associated with the functionalities of the worksheet. For example, friends address.xls. It is the extension of the workbook. Similarly, inventory.xls. So it is also the extension and inventory is the name of workbook. When you create a new workbook, then you can create different worksheets inside of the workbook. We have this Microsoft buttons where you can create the new, you can open existing worksheet and also you can save the worksheets or workbooks. So all these operations are similar as other Microsoft suite softwares, for example in MS Word and PowerPoint, etc. So you should name the workbook, for example, home expense.xls. Next. So this should be in fact suitable names which shows the functionalities of the worksheets or workbook. So home expense.xls means that all the home expenditure will be stored in this xlx files, and you can calculate different sort of the expenses using these files. So for this purpose, you have to click on this office buttons, then select the open and then locate the files or folder and double click on the file and folder to open these documents if it is already existing. If it is not existing, then you need to create the new worksheets. This is the Excel window. Here is the Microsoft Office button, and this is the quick access toolbars where you can format your worksheets. Also, we have the tab buttons. There is the tabs, and here is the ribbon. This one is called the ribbon, and here is the worksheet area where you can insert different sort of data. And there you can see that there by default there are 3 sheets here with us. You can add new as well. So there is small buttons. Click on the small buttons to add the new sheets here, and you can also rename this worksheets. This is the status bar and this is the help F1. So if you click on the F1 or just click this help, then you will be provided with the help, and then you can type any query there, then the Excel window will answer you. Now here, when you create the new worksheets, then you need to save as that worksheets. So it should be suitable to save the worksheets with the name, that is showing the purpose of the worksheets. You can also save as print, send, and close the worksheets. So these are different options of the worksheet. You can also save the worksheets with the different formats like web page dot or .csv files. So there are multiple other formats of worksheets as well. This is MS Excel ribbons. It is the similar as like the Microsoft Word. So you can format your worksheet, you can align the data, and similarly you can perform here the conditional formatting. These are some new functionalities like you can calculate operations here. Similarly, you can sort the data and you can also find or search the data inside of the worksheets. Now, the workbook contains different rows and columns and the particular cells, which is intersection of the rows and columns. And every worksheet has the address here or the reference like C3. C3 means this is C columns and third row. So this is called C3. Its reference is C3. Reference is very much important and useful when you access the data stored inside of that particular cells. Dear students, we will create a new worksheets example. So for this purpose, I want to skip the slides. So here I want to create the new worksheets. Now to create the new worksheet, I have skipped the slides, and here you type Excel, Excel. When you type Excel, you will see Excel app, or you can also select the Excel from here. So just click Excel app. Now, meanwhile, the Excel 365 will be available for you. Here, click on the new Excels to create the new documents. Otherwise, if you have already the previous Excel files, so you can also open these files. So here, I want to create the new. So now you can see that the new Excel file has been created for me. So here, it is very much important to understand this area, which is a working area for your Excel data. So here you can see that we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H up to Z, but it is not up to Z. It can be more than Z. For example, if I click this small arrow icon, then you can see that after that it is now AA, AB, AC and ED. So it's very much infinite. So you can see that BH, BY and so on. So similarly, if I go down, you will see 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. So for example, I'm going down. So you can see that the Excels provide me the number of rows here, and it is also infinite because there may be multiple rows and columns. If I want to go up, so using this slider, so you can go up here. Now if I type some data here, for example, I want to type here some number, for example 200, it is number, and press enter, you will go down. Again I want to enter some another number 300, similarly 400, pressing the enter key I will go down. Now click on any number, for example here, this you can see that it is 200. Now what is the reference of this cell? Its reference is C3. C3. If I click here somewhere another cell shares in the worksheets, this is worksheet 1, sheet 1. So here if I type equal C3 and press enter buttons from the keyboard over the keyboard, then you will see that 200 is in fact appeared here, which is in fact this value. That means that if I click now here, you will see that this is the address bar where the reference is equal to C3 is provided here. So that means that C3 contains 200. If I now here if I type enter C, maybe small or capital, it's no problem, C5. Now you can see that when I type C5, automatically this cell has been focused or it is selected. That means that this is the reference of this cell C5. So it is very much important to understand the reference here. This is the Excel sheets. So if you want to delete it, and select all and delete this. Similarly, I want to delete it, select and press delete button on your keyboard. Now we are going to resume the slides. So this is in fact the front end of the Excel. Now how to create the workbook? So creating a workbook, first of all go to the Microsoft Excel, then save it with the file name. You need to save the file, then enter some data in the format of rows and columns, and then format the data, rows and columns you can format the data, and at the end you need to save the file. These are the steps here. First we have created the blank workbook, or you can also click on the new option in your Excel. After creating this, then you need to save the files with a certain name. So you can save or save as the files, but the extension should be .xlx. are .xls. .xlx and .xls has changed the extension. This is from Excel 97 to 2003, and this is from 2003 to onward 2020. So mostly we have this extension here. Now here is the example how you can create a workbook. I want to type this workbook. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 months, and here is the total, and here is the average. There are certain commodities like are items, clothing, grocery, gas, utility, and here is the total. So here I want to create this workbook. So here you need to stay with me. So this is the worksheet that already I have created. You can add new worksheets here as well. For example, just click here, again click here, and so on. So you can create more than one sheet. For example, here is my worksheet. You can also rename this worksheet. So right click, rename it. For example, here I want that daily budget, or that is monthly budget. In fact, monthly budget. This is the name of my worksheet, monthly budget. It is named properly. Here you can see that this is sheet 1, sheet 2, 3, sheet 3. Sheet 1 has renamed with monthly budget. This is sheet 2, 3, and 4. You can delete this sheet as well. These are, for example, right click, delete. You can see these sheets are deleted. So to delete the extra as useless sheets, you can delete them. Now I want to create the monthly budget worksheets. So here I will type the labels. So first is the items. Okay. Here is the, for example, January. Okay. This is the January month. Here I will type February month. Next month is March, for example. This is March. Now these are just the labels. Now here we will provide some items. You can type here or here. For example, clothes. Clothes is one of the items. Similarly, books. Books is another item. Similarly, shoes. Shoes are another items. So, for example, we have just these three items. Here, there should be total. Now, here, for example, we need total, and here it can also be the total. For example, here I want to type the total, and here should be average. Yes. Now our Excel sheet is completed now. So you can type any sort of data, but for example, here I want to type that in the month of January, I spent 200 rupees on clothes and 100 rupees in uh, February, and for example 60 rupees on March. Before entering this data, we can also format this worksheet. So just select it. For example, here I require these items in different font. So I select it here and select here particulars, colors. It should be bold. Now you can see that these are bold, and this should be in the green. So I can change the color. For example, if I need the deep green, so click on more colors. Here you can see that now these are converted into deep green, and this should be in blue, that is deep blue. So for example, here it is the deep blue. If you want to change the text size, so similarly, select here. This is 11, so this is 16. Now you can see that there is the proper formatting. Now you can see that the January month spelling are alphabets are in fact not complete, and they are in the inside of this cell. So you can resize this cells by just dragging it towards your right side. So now you can see that these words are now complete. So you can resize these cells. If you want this data to be aligned right side, left side, now you can see these are aligned left. Now, in the January months, we bought 50 rupees books, similarly 60, and similarly, for example, 30. And on shoes, we have spent 20 and 20, 100, 30, and so on. Now I want to align them to the left side. Now you can see that all are aligned. Now this is our works book that we have created. We also entered some data. Here you will see the total of all these values. So for this purpose, click here and click here and click on the sum. Now you will see that this is pointing that some functions F5 to F8 from F5, this is F5 cell, from F5 to F8, 5, 6, 7 and 8. This one is also selected. Press enter. Now you can see that 260 is the sum of 250 and 10. So similarly here, if I direct write the formula is equal to sum, then brackets, it says that provide me the parameters. So G5 to G8. This defines, I can say that G7. This defines the series from G5 to G7, sum all values. Press enter. Now you can see that the sum of 100, 60 and 20 is 180. Similarly here again is equal to sum H5 to H7 and press enter. Now you can see that this is the sum of 60, 30, 30. So 120 is the calculation. Now select this row and align it to your left side. Now if I change the values here at runtime, for example, if I want to change here 10, I want to change 10, so this is not from 20. You can see that the calculation has been performed again, and this is the recalculation, that is 270, which is in fact shows that the sum of 205, 50 and 20 is 270. Now here we want to total this line or this row. So here I will write is equal to sum. What I want to sum F. Or in this, I can also write the simple formula, that's F 5 plus G5 plus and H5 and press enter. You can see that 360 is the sum of 200, 160. Now if I drop this plus buttons towards these over these two cells, which are remaining two cells, you will see that, and I release the mouse buttons, you can see that Same formula is applied here for these two cells as well. So that means that 140 is the sum of 50, 60 and 30. 140. 20, 20 and 30 sum is 70. Now this is also the sum. Now in this column we will calculate the average. Means that we will divide these values over 3. So for this purpose is equal to J 5 divided by 3 and press enter. J5 is the reference of 360 because this is J column and this is fifth value, fifth reference number over J, and press enter. So 360 by 3 is equal to 120. Now for these two values, just select this plus button, this is this icon, and just drag drop with your mouse by holding the left button of your mouse and drag drop over two next cells downwards and release the mouse buttons. Now you can see that 46.67, 23.33 is the average of these three values. That means that 140 divided by 3 and 70 divided by 3, this is the average here. So this is in fact our average here, right? So this is the simple monthly budget Excel sheets which calculates the budget of clothes, books and shoes for 3 different months. That means that for in January you have spent 270 rupees on all three items. In February you spent 180 rupees on all these three items, and in March you have spent 120 rupees on all these three items. And this is the average. For example, on 3 months, in 3 months you have spent 360 rupees on clothes, and the average per month is 120. You have spent 140 rupees on books for 3 months, and the average is 46.67. You have spent 70 rupees total in the 3 months, January, February and March, on shoes, and the average is 23.33. So this is a simple example of the Excel documents which calculates the different items budgets for January, February and March month. Now one thing is very much important. When I created this monthly budget worksheets, then I also need to save it. If I'm saving it first time, so click here, click on save icon, and then specify the place you want to save on the drives. For example, this PC. Now in the document folder, this will be saved. Here I will provide the name of the Excel sheet. Monthly budgets. Monthly budget. And its extension will be XLS, and save it. Now it has been saved. Similarly, for example, if you want to change the background colors here, for example, here this is yellow background color and this should be in another background, for example this one, and here all the data backgrounds should be like this color, and here it should be in light green, like this is the light green, and similarly here it should be also of this color, and it should be also of the pink color. So for example this here it should be light pink. Now this is complete example of the worksheets which calculates different budgets. Now we will resume our slides. Here you can insert any sort of the data. You can enter the data into your Excel worksheets either horizontally or vertically by hitting the enter key. When you type some data, then you can press the enter or press the tabs. You can also perform the autofills, fill in the months, means that the system will autofill some values here. So fill in the months of the years, type first 2 months and change the cell of data types here, and then select the rows of the month by clicking on the type such as 1, and then go to the formats and select the format cells. But better is to provide the meaningful name by typing them. So you can also type the values. In the Excel, you can type multiple sort of the data like January, February, March. This is the string data. And similarly, if there is a numeric data and you type another sort of data, then this uh, icons will appears that shows that you have not typed the valid data. So just double click on this lines for the two columns headings to autofill. Just double click here. Automatically this will be filled with the others data here. So drag the border between two columns. You can also drag it. For example, just expand them. Then you will see that this January will be completely available for you. Similarly, if you want to perform some another operation like uh, 11 by 8, so it will calculate 11 by 8. To enter fraction only first 0 first, for example 0 1 divided by 4, it will calculate the fraction value. So if you want to enter 1 over 4 without the 0, Excel will interpret the number as a data. That means January 4. For example, if you will type 1 by 4, it will says that you have typed the date here. January 4, it means 4 January. But you enter 0 1 by 4, it will perform the calculation. Now, here you can insert rows and columns. For example, if you want to insert the new row, so you can do it by right clicking on the particular positions and then click on the inserts columns or insert row, then the new row or column will be inserted here. For example, we want to perform it in our slides or that here. For example, here I want to insert the new row. So click here, then click on the insert. So here this window will appear. It shows that do you want to insert new row or new column. So I want new entire row. Click on OK, so that you can see that the new row has been inserted here. Now if you want to format this row, so about this cell, for example, you want to format this row according to this cells, so select particular cells and click on this format printer and then drag drop that format printer on that particular rows or collection of rows and then release the mouse. You can see that this has been formatted. So that is the formations here. Right. You can change the column width and row height. The simple method is just drag dropping that particular column's width and height. You can also select for width and then row height and column width. You can select that and then it will ask from you to how you can want to set that particular values. So if you provide, for example, 0.035 centimeter on print, that will become the row height and click on OK, then it will be the row height. But the simple method is this one, that for example, I want to change this row width. So just select this and you can see that here the values are showing that it is 137 pixels. Our width is 20.86 and release the mouse. You can see that the column width has been changed. Similarly, you can also change the width of your column. Similarly, you can also change the row width. For example, here I want to change its row width. So this will be also be changed here from this position. So this is very simple method. Okay, so I can also change the format of this worksheets as well. And after performing some operations, you need to save this worksheets. So I saved because save should be reflected here. You can format the worksheets exactly like what we have done in the Microsoft Word or in the Microsoft PowerPoint. Like you want to change the font colors, font size. Similarly, here you can also change the positions of the text in the cell. Similarly, you can change the indentations from here. So that's exactly like the MS Word and PowerPoint, which we have already demonstrated in our previous lectures. It is very important to change the table styles. The table styles will be highlighted here. So first you need to select the tables, then click on the format of the tables, then different formats will be available for you. Just select the particular format and then that format will be applied on your Excel worksheets. For example, here I want to change its format. So first I need to select my worksheets here, then click on the format as a tables. Here you can format that tables here and click OK. Now you can see that this has been formatted. But here you can also see that column 1, column 2, column 3, these are introduced. Now if you want to undo the changes, click on undo. Better is your own format. This is your own format, so that's why I recommend you to create your own format here. So that is the formatting here. You can also insert the header and footer of your slides as worksheets. So inserts in the insert tabs, click on the header and footer, then types the header and footer that will be inserted here. Okay, and then you need to go to the footers icons and click on the files names icons, and that footer will be inserted here. To go back to the normals, just click on the normal views. You will see the normal view of your worksheets. Conditional formatting is very much important. For example, if you want that if the student marks are entered, for example, 100 because are more than 100, then it will be highlighted with some message or with some the colors. So a red font for experience the expenses that exceeds $100, then it will show the red font text and highlight the cells you want to apply the conditional formatting rule. So for this purpose, click on the Home tabs and then select the conditional formatting, select the highlight cells rules and then select the greater than. For example, here I will select the values and then format cell should be greater than. If that is greater than 100, then light red filled with the dark text. These are already predefined some conditional formattings options. So you need to select that particular conditional formatting option and click on OK. Then if you enter more than 100 values, then it will be the light red and dark text. So that shows that you have provided more than 100 values, for example 101, 102, etc. There are another conditional formatting options, top bottom rules, for example top 100 and above average. So you can click on conditional formattings, then data bars, and this will be shown here. Also you can apply the formatting styles, color skills and data sets as well. This is very much important because you need to understand the functionalities here. So if you want to total, we already done it here, then select that number of particular range. You need to type this formula is equal to sum J5 up to J8. This is the J5 to J8. This is J5, J6, J7, J8. So this column means that including J5 and J8 and also other within the J5 and J8 all will be summed here. You can also perform the average. So these are different predefined formulas. You can perform the average, count numbers, maximum, minimum, and all this can be performed here. Similarly, if you want to perform some operation like addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, so all these can be performed here. For example, I want to apply all these on my slides. For example, here I can write is equal to 20 divided by 5. Its answer should be 4. Pressing enter, it gives me the answers. So here 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4. Similarly, here I can perform the same operations here, like what we have done here, that sum F5 to F9. So all the values from F9 to F5, from F5 to F9, including other two as well, are summed here. Similarly, it is also the summation of G5 to G7, and this is also the summation of H5 to H7. While H5 and H7s are references of the cells here. So this is the summation. If I want to add all these three values, for example 272, 180, 120. So for example, here I will say that total costs or total budgets. So is equal to for example F10. F10 is the reference of this cell plus G10. G10 is the reference of this cell plus H10, and press enter. When you will press enter, it will show you the sum of these three values. Press enter. 570 is the sum of these three values. Now I want to format this 570 like this. So select this cell, click on this formatters options and drag drop over it here. You can see that this has been formatted. Similarly, do it for this as well. You can see that now our formatting has been completed. So this is how you can format the slide, the particular cell. Okay, dear students, this is the end of the lectures. In this lecture, you have seen that how we can create the Excel sheets, then how you can type the data, or you can create some calculations worksheets, how you can access different cells inside of the worksheets, and also we applied different formulas over the different data in the Excel sheets. So it was just introductory. In the upcoming lectures, you will learn how we can create different sort of the charts and graphs from this data as well. And also you will learn another formulas that are predefined formula in the in the Excel. And this is the book reference. You should read this book, Excel for Beginners, written by M.L. Humphrey. And if you still have any questions, you can ask the question through the email. My email is m.kadeem@kust.edu.pk. You can also post your queries over KCMS. I will read and I will answer your queries. And also I will receive your emails and write the respond emails to you as soon as you will email me. Thank you very much.